Hi, this is Dave Bartosiewicz with Have You Experienced Jesus? Hey, I'm here with Brian Jensen again, and we're excited to be here again to talk to you about a very important subject. And that subject is real faith or faith. Is there a difference between the two? And so what we want to talk about is, going through, the LDS environment, what we see a lot is that they are saying, hey, the problem with evangelicals, the problem with you guys is that we believe that you guys have like this cheap grace concept. You could do whatever you want and just go out there and once you say, hey, I believe in Jesus, we're all good, right?
Yeah.
We're all good, and you guys could do whatever you want. And I'm trying to let you guys know, if you're LDS watching this, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Do I believe that anybody who says, hey, I love Jesus, but yet I'm practicing sin every day?
I'd say it's not only just what we believe, but we trust the Bible that teaches that that's not the way it works either.
Yes,
so.
We're not supposed to practice sin every day. Once we receive Christ, we are supposed to go out through our lives, having a continuous real faith experience with God. And we just want to talk to you about that and make sure that if you are LDS watching this, that as evangelicals, yes, I'm not saying that there aren't groups of people in the evangelical community that feel the same as Bryan and I do, but as Bryan and I, we really believe that real faith is all about walking with Christ every day. Not that you're turning around and going the other way, but that you are walking with Christ, and that's really having your faith work, right?
And at the core of that, or behind all of that, has to be a confidence that is founded in, cemented in who Christ is. And so, I think Philippians 1 is a great chapter to read on that, where it says Christ has begun a good work in us and we'll see it through. So let us place our confidence in Him. But yet, as we'll talk about a little here, faith has to be faith in action. It's not merely coming to the altar of a marriage and saying we're all good and then cheating on your spouse for the rest of your life. But we are invited in as a bride in with Christ, and so that obligates us to a certain way of living out our faith.
So justification for us by faith is really justification of real faith, rather than just saying, hey, I have faith and I'm turning away and I'm never going to really even think about Christ ever again, and if I die, hey, so be it. It's really becoming a new creature and being sanctified in Christ. And I believe a lot of people need to understand that, especially Mormons.
Yeah, we would want to not be just one or the other. We did a little video today on the errors or heresies in Christian history, right? These breakaway sects and what they taught. And there was always a conflict. There were sort of two big movements at extremes. Ones were the Pelagians, who simply believed that we had to work everything out, and once we had worked things out, we could then be right with God, and that's not what we're saying. No. And then on the other hand, there were what are called the antinomians, which are the lawless ones, and some of them went to great extremes to say, I'm all good with Christ, I can live a life of sin because He'll cover all. The more I sin, the more grace will abound, and Paul taught specifically against this kind of thing. But then there's sometimes a softer antinomian, which is basically saying they don't connect the idea of our faith with the will of Christ working out in us, which is Philippians 2, right? Which says, let us respond. In the Greek, it uses the passive form of the verb work. We are going to respond with fear and trembling to work out our salvation, for it is Christ who, using the active Greek, works out His will and His good pleasure, right? So we truly do believe that faith is alive and active through the will of God in us, rather than us holding ourselves back and say, I'm going to do these things that I think are right, that are good, that are going to please God, and then once I get those done, I'm clean enough for Him, I'm good enough for Him. That's not what we're saying.
No, I think it's like what I do a lot, and I know a lot of Christians do, is that you wake up in the morning, you have a prayer, and you say, hey, Lord, let your will be done through me today. Whatever may happen, let it be done. If you want me to help, whoever, if you want me to share the gospel to whoever, please let it be done. Mm-hmm. And so it's him working through us. And I agree 100% on that. So, I want to make clear that if you are Mormon, real faithful believers who have, Christ in them, they are there to work, through their faith with God. And one of the things that I don't want you to look at is looking at Christianity, thinking that all Christians really have this faithless sort of active...
This cheap grace.
In their lives. Yeah.
We believe the price paid for grace, both on the cross and to transform us through this active relationship, isn't cheap at all. It costs God a great amount, both in the past and in the present, and in the future for those yet to come.
So it's continuous for us, and our faith works. And so hopefully this helped you out a little bit if you're LDS watching this and saying, hey, I'm glad to see that they are faithful. And we don't do the works like you do, in that sense, with the temple and in home teaching and all that stuff. But what we do is we do it a little bit differently, and hopefully you got that understanding today.
Yeah, good.
Anyway, thanks for watching, and God bless you guys. Bye-bye.